Hey everybody, it's Abby Glassenberg from Craft Industry Alliance. As you can probably hear from my voice, I have had a cold. I am finally on the mend, but I have a little bit of a hoarse voice today. That being said, I'm still very excited to be here for our member spotlight, which we get to do every single week, where we drop in on one of our incredible Craft Industry Alliance members and get to talk to them about their creative journey, their business, maybe see some samples, get a peek into their studio, etc. So today we're going to be talking with Kate Colleran. Kate is a quilt designer, and I'm very excited to welcome her when she gets here. I was able to meet her in person at H&H Americas, which was a lot of fun. And so I'm excited to show you what Kate has to offer. In the meantime, while we wait for her to arrive, I wanted to tell you that we are having an incredible event tomorrow. It is a virtual event, and it's going to be focused on the new face of craft publishing. So if you've thought about writing a craft book, maybe you've written one already and want to write another one, or it's always been your dream to write a craft book, but you're wondering what the best way to do that might be in today's market, then join us tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Our panel discussion will include 4 different panelists. We're going to have Carol Lowell-Shaw here, Melanie Fallick, Rianne Minardi-Morrison will be here, and Louise Sundstrom. All of them are people who have a ton of experience in publishing, whether that's in working with a mainstream publisher, working with a print-on-demand publisher, or doing self-publishing. So we're going to be diving into everything related to craft publishing. Oh, I'm so happy to say we have a couple people saying they're going to be there. That's awesome. It's going to be a really good discussion, and hopefully you will come away feeling like you can make your book dream a reality, whether you want to attract the attention of a big mainstream publisher, whether you want to do print-on-demand publishing, whether you want to assemble your own team and put together a craft book that way, or anything in between. Work with a local printer. I mean, there's so many ways to do it now, and to get wide distribution, as wide as you want, and produce a beautiful book that you have total control over, and gives you that calling card that only a book really can. So I'm excited to be offering that tomorrow. And the other thing I wanted to highlight while we're waiting for Kate, and Kate, if you're here and I missed you, definitely request to join our live. One other thing I wanted to highlight is that we have a gift guide that we do every year. This is our 3rd year, and it is a gift guide that features all products and services from Craft Industry Alliance members. It's beautiful, it's super easy to navigate, and it generates a lot of clicks, a lot of shares, especially on social media around the holidays, when we really want to encourage consumers to shop local, shop small business for their holiday shopping. So if you would like to be included in our holiday gift guide, we would love to include you, whether you sell a product, a service, or anything in between. And we have categories for pretty much every type of craft. And it's always a really beautiful way to sort of see what our members have to offer. So if you would like to be included, we did send out our gift guide submission invitation on Monday. And this year there's actually a way, if you want 4 listings, to get a sponsored group that is sort of set apart visually as well. And we've had some interest in that too, which is exciting. It is only open to members, and it is free with your membership to get a listing in our gift guide. So definitely take advantage of it. It's a great way, whether you have a Black Friday coupon or offer, or just want to highlight any of your products. No coupon required. We would love to be able to highlight you. And so yeah, make sure you look in your email for that. If you can't find it, reach out to me and I will definitely send it to you. Oh, Kate, you're here. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to, Kate, if you can request to join live, that would be great by press the little plus sign at the bottom of your screen. Oh my gosh, you guys, this cold has been horrible. I got a cold on Friday and it was fine. And then I got this cough and now it's like I can't speak. And I've been drinking so much tea and having so much soup. But it's just been totally awful. So Kate, let's see what I can do here. Hmm. And it doesn't give me the option to have you go live. Maybe I can put it here. Hold on. There we go. Invitation from me there to go live. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to be better. I'm trying to rest my voice. Hey, Kate, how are you?
It happened. Yay. I'm good. How are you? We just lost our internet. So,
Oh no, but it's
yeah,
back.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
anyway, but I figured it out.
Kate, I was just thinking about your beautiful gray hair. Not to start with hair, but I
That's
just wanted
okay.
to say, like, it's such an inspiration to me because I'm growing out my gray hair, and it's just started. I'm in the beginning stages, but anyway, I just love your hair, so I'm excited to join the gray masses.
Oh, well, thank you so much for saying that. Growing it out is
It
hard.
is.
Um, I sort of wish I had just never started
Me
coloring
too.
because I think letting it grow in is easier. Um, and you'll get to the point where you're about here and you think, I can't do this.
I
And
know.
just just barrel through, you
Thank you
know?
for the encouragement. For anyone else who's joining us today who is in that process too, it's tough,
It is. It is.
but it's
But
worth
it's worth
it.
it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So, Kate,
And
I
I
have a cold, and I'm very sorry for having such bad laryngitis today, but I'm going to let you talk and do the majority of the talking. So, tell us a little bit about your business, about your quilts, how you learned to quilt, and how you built this beautiful business.
okay, I'll see what I can tell and then just jump in with more questions. Um, so hello everybody. I started quilting actually when I was a teenager, believe it or not. Nobody in my family quilted. My mom sewed, my grandma sewed, but nobody had quilted. But I had a cousin who was having a baby, and I thought the baby needed a quilt. So I figured I would just figure it out. And so I went and bought some flannel and I drew a square on the inside of a cereal box, cut it out, laid it on the fabric, drew around it, and sewed all my squares together. And just from there, I started quilting. And I made a few quilts over the years, but I never really like took a class or anything until was married, had 3 kids, started working at a particular agency. I was a nurse for 30 years, by the way.
Okay.
So I was working at a home care agency, and it turned out a bunch of the ladies there quilted. And so they were like, "Oh, you've never taken a class? Well, you have to take a class." And they showed me where to go. And by then I'd made like dozens of quilts, but I'd never taken a class. So it was kind of fun. So that's slowly how it started. And the funny part was this group of ladies at our visiting nurse agency, we formed a little group, we made quilts for each other, and then we made quilts um, to raise money for our patients.
Oh,
Insurance doesn't cover everything. So once a year, we'd get together, we'd make a quilt, and we'd raffle it off so we could raise money for our patients for like rides to doctors or to pay an aide to stay with a family member so the caregiver could go to the doctor or something like that, which was really a fun way to play with quilts. And at the beginning, I was one of the ones that was the newbie. And at the end, I was picking the pattern, I was picking the fabric, I was tweaking the pattern. So I eventually left there and went to work somewhere else at a nursing home. And it turned out the woman I shared an office with, she wanted to do more with quilting. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to start a business rather than work at a nursing home? And yeah, so I was already tweaking patterns and designing my own things. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I could write them. And so we just started a business. She was all about being the tester because she was a newer quilter. Not that I was very experienced, but and we just got started there. We figured our audience would be that beginning to intermediate quilter who wanted a pattern that said which way to press and didn't assume that they knew things. So that was sort of how we got started. Um,
nice. That's lovely. And are you still working together?
no, she retired quite a few years ago. To be honest, I was living in Connecticut at the time when we started. Then she moved twice, once to Syracuse, once to Maryland. So we were like a long distance business for a while. And I was working full time as a nurse while I was doing this. And she was working full time. And we each had kids. And then my husband lost his job and we moved to Colorado after about a year when he finally found a job. And I said, well, if you're moving me to Colorado, I'm not working as a nurse anymore. So I wanted to make this more of a full time job. But at that point, then I'm ramping up the things, and Elizabeth's going, No.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she was working full time. She just couldn't do it. So she retired out. And so now I do it by myself.
That's fabulous.
So,
So I love the idea that you're not assuming any knowledge because
hmm
as a person who also didn't come from a family who sewed, I
hmm
always found patterns so mystifying because they assumed you knew what all these words meant
yeah,
and what all these techniques were. And if you didn't, you were sort of left out of the club. And so I
exactly.
love that you're being inclusive that way. So show us some of your samples. If you have some around you, we would love
I,
to see.
okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm known for, because I do lots of different things. I do quilts, I do bags, just a few bags. Though interestingly enough, our very first pattern, even though we called ourselves at the time, seems like a dream quilt designs, our first pattern was a bag. I don't know. But one of the ones that I'm really well known for is my Pack It Up bag. Now you're going to get to see it because it's a sample that I just had at Quilt Market in a brand new fabric line that'll be coming out soon. Because I'm also now designing fabric, which is so exciting and so much fun. So anyway, this is one of my bags. It's called Pack It Up. This happens to be the large size. And if I had all my samples here, I could do my little fun thing, which is there's 4 sizes in the pattern. So I love to like take out the small and then take out the medium and then take out the large. And it's like the nesting doll thing. But what's fun about it too is you see how it has this little braid?
Mm-hmm.
So a while back, I had written a book with Elizabeth right before she retired. And in it, we had a quote with a braid. And so afterwards, I came up with templates to cut the braid pieces. So those are some of my more popular things. So I have this little tiny braid template. I don't
Oh,
know if I
wow.
have one here. Oh, wait, I do. Hang on. These are my ones I use all the time. They're hanging on the wall over here. Looks like this. I don't know if you guys can even see it, but it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And I use it to cut little teeny tiny braid pieces.
Wow.
I also have a bigger one that cuts a bazillion different sizes of braid using strips of different widths. So you can make other things as well. But here's another thing that I do with my braid. This is one of my pillow patterns. This one got a lot of love at Quilt Market, I think because we use such tiny
Oh,
strips.
it's so pretty.
Isn't that fun? And
Yeah.
what I love about this technique is that it's perfect for beginners. Um, and because once you cut your pieces, the sewing is so simple and you're not
Right.
matching any points.
It's all
And at the very
straight
end,
lines. No, right. There's no angles really. It looks like it is, but it's not.
well, yeah, because we've cut already the angles for the
Right.
sides. So now you just sew in a piece, sew
Right.
in a
Right. Right.
piece, sew in a piece,
Right.
sew in a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call it Sunday afternoon sewing
Right.
because you can't go fast because you can't chain piece. And so you just add a piece and press and add a piece and press. And then when you're all done, you trim it and then you trim your wobbly bits and you're done. And
Right.
it's perfect.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Has a lot of creative options there. A lot of ways to do it with color,
Mhm.
with pattern. Yeah, super cool.
It is fun. And you can make it look so different depending on what you do. Of course, this one was made out of my brand new line that was in the spring catalog. Should be coming out in shops in another month or so. It's called Winged Things. So it's got little butterflies and bees and flowers. So of course I was showing it off at
And
market.
which
Um,
fabric company are you working with?
I'm working with Island Boutique.
Island Boutique. Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
So now the quilt behind me is actually, I shouldn't be showing it at all. Ooh, it's the line that just came out in their fall catalog. It's called Breezy, which coordinates really well with my winged things, but it's a little bit different, a little bit more intense, a little bit more fall colors than the softer spring colors. And this is my quilt called Paloma, which got a lot of love at market.
Love it.
It's it's a nod to a butterfly, which is why I called it Paloma, but it's not a butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But
I can
again,
see it. Yeah.
and it's simple piecing. I love quilts that look hard but aren't. I mean, when you think about this, you've got squares and rectangles, not hard, and you got a little stitch and flip, not hard. But when you put them together, it looks dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I love that. I love quilts that have that look,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and are
Yeah.
doable. You know, I personally, I don't write patterns for the advanced quilter because personally, I love the simple things, but
Yeah.
have interest. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
movement in the quilt. So, and that anybody could look at this and say, well, Kate, I am not an orange and purple girl. Well, that's fine.
Right.
You can do it in any color you want.
Yeah. Totally. And
Yeah.
so are your patterns print patterns or are they PDF or both?
They're both. Not all my patterns are PDF. You know, for a long time, I kind of resisted the PDF thing for two reasons. And I heard a little bit about this at market, but for two reasons. I know that for shops, they feel like when I sell a PDF, I'm undercutting them, which is not what I mean to do. What I'm trying to do is provide a pattern to somebody who can't get it any other way. Their local shop doesn't carry it. Shipping is so expensive, you know, but I also worried a little bit about copyright and people making copies.
Sure.
So I kind of, you know, was hesitant. And then I thought, nope, I'm here to serve my customers. Hopefully they're all going to be above board and wonderful and they won't make copies. And so, yes, and most people are. So, you know, and I can't worry about those who aren't. That's just, you know, I've got to serve the people who have put their trust in me and said, I want to work with your stuff. So, okay. So I'm slowly converting a lot of my patterns to PDF, but you know, it takes time.
Yeah, it does.
Well, my patterns are now booklets. So I switched to that a few years ago. And since they're booklets, I don't want make people to figure out how to print a booklet and then they can't staple it.
Formatted. Yeah.
Yes. So that requires me to reformat it. And, you know, and it's not just copy and paste, of course. It's, you know, making sure everything lines up. And yeah, so it takes a lot. But I am converting them.
Okay.
So.
Got it. Okay, good. Thanks for the input. And your online store, are you selling on Etsy or Shopify or something different?
I actually do both. So my main store is on Shopify, and it links to my website. So my website is a WordPress site because I have a lot of blog posts.
Me too.
Yeah. So that's a WordPress site, but it seamlessly links to my Shopify web store. But for those who are in places where that whole VAT tax is an issue, I have my PDFs also on Etsy to make it a little bit easier for them and for me. But, you know, and speaking of blog posts, I've been blogging for a while. I'm not always as consistent as I would like to be. But for a couple of years, I did a blog post series called Exploring the Basics. So I have a whole series of blog posts on things like how to pick your fabric, how to do a half square triangle, how to do a flying geese. Somebody asked me today if I had any information on drunkard's path. So I linked her to my blog post on tips on doing a drunkard's path. So I have a ton of posts in my Exploring the Basics on different aspects of the process. I did it with my friend Tammy Silvers of Tamarides, and we started with picking a pattern, how are patterns written, picking your fabric, and then we ended some of that with also how to do binding, you know, and all that stuff. So
and it's great for SEO too, because people are looking for those answers, and when they find them through you, then they're there on your site and can shop, etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Do you have any other samples you want to show us before we close?
Oh, absolutely. Can I show you something totally different?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things is now that I've started designing fabric, I end up drawing all these different things. And I'm not an artist. I was a nurse. So it's really fun to learn how to do all this. But then with this winged things line, I had butterflies in there. And I thought these butterflies are so cute. So I thought it would be fun to do some different things with the butterflies. So they're not on my website yet. They're going to come soon in the next week. But I started to create little stickers.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
And so I have this one so far. And I have this one so far. And then I'm also doing little notepads with the little butterflies on them, because I made 12 different butterflies so I could put together a calendar.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to get all that stuff up. And by next week, I should have all of that. The calendar, I'm going to take pre-orders, and the others, I have some samples here that people can buy. So I just thought it'd be fun to try something else. I mean, quilters love fun things like stickers. I have them actually stuck on my sewing machine.
Nice. That's awesome.
You know,
I have them on my laptop. Yeah.
But you could also put them on your water bottle, or,
so cute.
You know, do anything like that. So
yeah,
kind of fun to do something different.
It's really good to challenge yourself to learn new things, try out new categories.
Yeah.
You know, it keeps it interesting for you as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this has been great, Kate. Tell us where we can go to follow along, make sure we, you know, stay up to date in what you're up to. And we want to be able to follow you.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. So everything is under my name, Kate Colleran Designs. So that's what I am on Instagram. That's what I am on Facebook. My website is just katecollerandesigns.com. And if you go to my website, there's a little link for the blog. There's a link to a tutorial page where I have some fun tutorials. There's a link on my braid template page to a whole video I did with C&T Publishing if you want to see how you would use that.
Okay.
Don't look for the one I did with my husband. It is terrible. Look for the one I did with C&T Publishing. But yeah, so I have all sorts of resources too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Kate. Thank you for being a member. And thank you for everyone who joined us today. We love having you, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Bye, Abby.
Bye,
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Right.
See you.
Bye.